and listen to it, feel free. We will get them posted. Excuse me. The other piece of this is we always like to have conversational meetings with everybody. So please just put your questions in the chat. We'll go through them as we're going through the presentation, and we'll be able to answer some questions. But I'm pretty happy that we were able to make some good ground in the past couple of weeks. So let's get through that. I want to go to the agenda. We'll talk about a release that we had last night. We will talk about some known issues. We'll talk about some questions and answers, and throughout it, we'll talk about the upcoming sessions we're going to have and some resources for you. For as far as the release goes, we I think you heard me a couple of meetings ago make a commitment that we are going to do everything we can in the next few weeks to unblock QRCs to allow them to be able to file. So the first thing is we did add some more error messages on R3s. We've fixed the signature on the R3 form so that the signature is now on there. We've fixed the group registration so that can be submitted. We've added missing fields on the PPR document, the document submission issues with the retraining plan web form. So when people were trying to upload that, it was giving you some issues. That's been fixed. Incorrect rehab group numbers on our forms have been fixed. The inability to file an R2 and RCR when an RCR did not have a claim match. We saw that a number of times. I think, working with you all, we really saw that, when you're filing, sometimes the insurance carrier hasn't filed the claim with us, or they filed it with completely different data. So when you try to link up to it, nothing's there, and then it's kind of stopped you from filing from that point forward. But we have fixed that. The staff and interns tab should now be good. We confirmed with a couple of people this morning that we're having that issue, that they are now, their group people are in the group. Prior firm listed on cases after change of employment. We've worked through that. If anybody's still seeing that, please reach out to Mike Hill, because we can correct those on a one-by-one basis now, but we did a global update on that. Affidavit services missing on the rehab requests and responses. That's if you're filing a rehab request, you were missing that, but that is now on there. So a lot of updates, combined with the updates from the prior week that allowed, editability of R3s and forms to be able to be edited so that they're more accurate. Representation of what you're submitting because you were holding forms. We've taken away certain restrictions so that people can file things without having the previous form be in campus, because the data is there, but there's the form isn't showing. So we've really been able to sit down with some QRCs and go through end-to-end processes and see that we have done what our objective was and freed up the QRCs to be able to file. Now, I saw a lot of chats coming up, so maybe I'm wrong here, but what's do you want to answer some of those or open up some of those chat questions?
Yeah. First one, my group admin sees 0 claims right now. Is there a video or link to help correct this? So just to confirm, Kayleen, is she not seeing anything in the claims tab or the my rehab cases tab? If you could just add that to the chat, that would be helpful so we can confirm. When will the last of the spreadsheet rehab files be accessible to QRCs?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we've loaded what data we could based on the spreadsheets that we got from everybody. We've loaded what we could. We know that there's a certain population out there of about 260-ish claims that are cases that are not linking to rehab providers that we know are out there. We will be announcing a new process where you'd be able to contact Mike Hill with some information, and he will do the research so he can kind of take them on an individual basis, because at this point, it takes a lot of research from our compliance department to link these, but they'll be able to, we've added some functionality on the front end of campus for our staff to be able to go into those rehab cases and actually reassign the QRC, get the correct QRC on there, and then also make them visible to the external community. So that's going to be the process going forward. We'll outline that a little more, in an email. That functionality was created last night, and Mike and Joanne and nobody have been trained on it yet. So please be very patient with them because they also have a learning curve where they need to learn how to do that. But that'll be the plan going forward, and we'll have some communication next week on that.
Great, thanks, Brad. Next question, I think if Mike Hill's on, I might need you for this one. I was able to file my backlogged R3s with the editable fields in Campus, with the exception of the ones that were manually completed in lieu of PPRs. But since this window has passed, Campus is now missing the fields for me to recreate the form. Is there a fix for this? Mike, is that something that you know how to decipher? I'm not as familiar with the PPR and the R3 form, so just want to see.
Yeah, part of the problem that we had going on is that PPRs were set up that they could be filed 15 days before 6 months or 15 days after 6 months in conjunction with the rule. But then if the QRC didn't do it within that window, then that PPR function was not available to them. At this point, we've put that in as a possible design change. And I guess as far as a PPR, it could probably be uploaded. We'll have to get back to you on that piece.
Yeah, yeah. So because the timelines were kind of facing based on that rule, we got to look at all of our sequencing logic to make those dates appear again. That's the last thing that we have in our hopper of development that we would need to do. But we also need to be cognizant of the rules and everything. So trying to figure out how to do it, and then how to make sure that Mike knows, and Joanne, when that comes in, what he's seeing. So we will get back to you on that. But there's something definitely I will prioritize again to get those to get that work looked at, hopefully next week.
Thanks, Brad and Mike. Have you noticed the left side of our forms cuts off when printing? We can look into that. That might be printer settings as well, but we can take that down as something to investigate. How do we withdraw from a filed rehab request? Ooh, we might need to defer that one to Richard and Brian, who wouldn't be on this call.
Well, and I guess maybe, I'm sorry, this is Mike interrupting.
Yeah.
I guess I don't understand what the question is, withdraw from a rehab request. Is it something you filed? Is it something somebody else filed? Can you give us some further clarification on that?
Yeah, Sarah, if you want to just add some additional clarification in there, otherwise we can reach out to you as well after this. Next question. Our firm has 11 cases that show on our rehab case list with no claim linked. We have been told that the adjuster did not yet file the FROI. Does DLI have a way to run a report to see this and then ask the adjuster to file? We were told to ask the adjuster to file the FROI, but have not had success in getting the filing completed.
We do have a whole queue of those that they go through, and they do ask them to file. But that because of when campus went live, a number of these cases got created. I would reach out to our help desk team with the list and just have them, give it to the help desk and just say you need to, to have our compliance team reach out to them and have them file those FROIs.
All right. How do I gain access to my intern's files? The relationship has already been established. I know that we had an outstanding defect with that. Sarah, I'm not sure if you've tried this morning to access those files, but if not, let me know and I could circle up on that. Next one. It appears we are able to access our cases and files and forms. However, we still cannot submit. And there doesn't seem to be an error message. Would you like these to be sent in on an individual help desk tickets to be addressed?
I would try one today, and if you're still having that issue, please email email Mike, and Mike, you send that over to us because we want to get those resolved, because we have had we did test with some externals this morning and they were able to do all that. So we may have an issue with a setting or something with an individual group.
And if I might add, to go ahead and send us snapshots of the problems that you're seeing, because that really does help.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Yeah, as much information as possible. Who the QRC was, what time they were doing it, what actions you were taking, what case it was on, all that really helps us narrow down in our logs to see what is happening, and then we can get it resolved for you.
Great, thank you both. Next, we have many files that were incorrectly migrated over to campus. They have the correct QRC, but the wrong QRC firm provider name. How do we fix this? I believe we do have a defect for that is still open. I know we did work through one where the prior firm was listed after change of employment, but I believe that we do have something else that we are still working on with that group association. Brad, is that one you're familiar with at all?
Familiar enough to say that was the answer, that we do have something out there for that. It's good though if they could again send those examples just so we have them, because we like to take that information and do the fix and test beforehand and make sure that it works, so we have the expected outcome. So if you send us those examples with what you're seeing on the front end and then what it's supposed to be, then we can look and make sure when we do our scripting that it does work correctly, and then we can push that into production.
Thanks. I have a couple questions here. Just a few firms that still have QRCs that are missing files. Mike, do you want to talk through the process of how to get those added?
Excuse me. Right now, what we're doing is we're following up on some missing files that should have been sent in to folks. And what will be happening here soon is that, as Brad indicated earlier, Joanne and I are going to be doing some training on the actual physical linking of rehab files to claims, so that we can start working through that list of hundreds of files so we can get those to you. And that's kind of where we're at right now.
Awesome, thanks, Mike. How do we complete a change of QRC once we upload the signed access form? So I can show you all how that would work. Just need to get into my test environment if you'll bear with me. Essentially what you would do is we would need to approve that access on our end. Once we approve that access, you will be able to click on the claim. It would show up in the My Claims queue on your dashboard. And then you would actually go ahead and go to the Related Claims and Cases tab on that and click on the rehab case. You should have the R form buttons available. So hang on just a second, I can pull one up and show you all how that would work. I can get my screen to pull up. Hang on just a second. All right. So in this instance, I've already clicked into a claim. This is what the claim details page is going to look like. So this would, there would be a link in your My Claims queue. Impossible to miss it. It would be right in the first tab that you see in Campus. So then what you can do is you can scroll to the bottom, click on Related Claims and Cases, and the RT will load here. Just a minute. after that RT loads, you would actually just click into that transaction and the R form details button will be there. So I'll click into this one. Click R form details, and now I have the ability to file that R3. So hopefully that helped with the navigation piece a little bit. All right. Next question. QRC found an employee ineligible for services. The RCR was filed stating not eligible. When will the case fall off my case list? I think we may need to investigate that. It may not fall off your case list, but it may be listed as closed, which would put it at the bottom of your list. But we can take that as an item to follow up on. How do we add another RCR finding the client not eligible after filing the original RCR stating that they were eligible? And R2 was not completed. I'm not sure if we have Mark. It doesn't look like he's on today. I am not 100% sure on that. Mike, in a typical situation, would they just need to file another RCR? I think you can actually amend your RCR as well after you've done that in campus. I can show you guys another example of that. It looks like you can amend right here. So you may be able to
I'm sorry, Angie, I was distracted. What was the question again?
The question was, how do we add another RCR finding client not eligible after filing the original RCR stating they are eligible? The R2 was not completed. Would they just file this amended RCR in here?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay. So if you click on RCR, it'll show us submitted, click amend, and next it'll take you into an RCR that you can amend. All right. I thought that the past due notices were on hold while we work through our backlog forms to enter in campus. One of our QRCs received one today, and Mike responded to that one.
Yeah, and I can address that to the group also. That was going to be in the known issues. So for that, because we started allowing people to file forms without having previous transactions there, it started triggering a bunch of work going out, saying things are overdue. Please disregard those. We are working on a message to send to the community to disregard those for the time being. And so, there's a large. We always send out our weekly stakeholder updates. That will be included in there, but that's something I just wanted to let everybody know that we are aware of it, and we are going to work with the dev team to get them shut off again. But opening up all that functionality so you could submit started causing this. But our goal was honestly just to get that functionality done so you could start to do your work, and we will address this.
All right, thanks, Brad. I've been granted claim access as a group administrator on a few files so that we could file change of QRC R3s. Now my name, email, and phone number show up under the employee's info. This does not seem correct. Deb, if you can send a screenshot of that to me with the file information. What I've been finding in a lot of instances is that it's due to Google Chrome autofill settings that people have. So it's not specific to campus, but I definitely want to investigate this and make sure. I can take a look and see on my end when it was changed and what changed. How do we file an R2 on a claim where it states no claim is linked? The RCR and RR were successfully uploaded in this instance. So that was something that we were working on, and I believe that was resolved in our release last night. I'm going to go back on that last slide. So yeah, the inability to file the R2 when the RCR did not have a claim match. So you should be able to submit those R2s now. If for some reason you're still unable to do that, please just let us know. I am a co-admin with my QRC and do not see anything in the My Forms tab, but can see rehab cases in that tab. Is there something we need to select to fix that for me? So I think you may be referring to not being able to see the forms that your QRC has possibly submitted. Melissa, if you can just clarify whether you are missing forms that you submitted. Right now, the settings are set so the user who files the form or saves the draft is who would be able to access it in the My Forms. I know we've logged that as a feedback item because a lot of you have brought that forward as something that you'd like to be able to do from an admin support account. In my cases, my campus, I have cases in my campus, but it won't let me complete forms. I worked with another QRC on this, and she said that it doesn't look like I am registered. James, I will take a look at that on my end. That might have been related to our staff and interns tab issue that was resolved today. So can certainly let us know if you have luck with that today, and if not, we can look into it a little bit further. Deb, I think I answered this question. So if a QRC creates a draft R form, does the group administrator also have access to the draft? That's, like I said, functionality we don't have, but something that we have added as a possible future improvement. And Sarah, I see your response regarding that rehab request. I can follow up with ADR and see, since you no longer need that, we can follow up with ADR and see exactly what is needed there. I tried to file a PPR on a case that the original QRC would have filed R2. I filed the subsequent R3, but didn't have the ability to upload the PPR on the current R3 within what I think was the 15-day timeline. Mike, is that something you're familiar with, or Brad?
I think that's the one we addressed where the PPR wasn't updated in the 15 days and the fields are now gone to upload it. And that's something we're currently taking under consideration right now to work with Mike and see what we can do to, especially for the ones in the past, because now those are gone, and then also what to do in the future. So, yeah, I will look into that for you.
Thanks, Brad. Sarah, I saw your comment about the intern files. I'll take a look and see where that ticket is, because I know I logged one specifically for you on those intern files. When a group administrator files a form, etc., on behalf of the QRC firm, can the QRC also receive a confirmation email? Can this feature be added? We can definitely take that as a feedback item for something to possibly add in the future. On the rehab summary page, I am still seeing the QRC firm that did the rehab consult, but not the current rehab firm under rehab provider firm. So I believe that falls in with the issue that we were discussing earlier, where sometimes the incorrect provider firm is listed. So Tom, if you want to send that file over so we can take a look at it, that would be great. All right. How are employees with 2 dates of injury handled? I assume they would each have a separate filing campus. They usually have a different injury and a different claim number with the insurer. I have 2 where the filing campus is a closed date of injury and not the active one. I have filed cases with the help desk on this. Yeah, I'm not sure I fully understand that one.
So it sounds like she's got one active file and one inactive file. So at least for the time being, if I might be so bold as to say that that's a minor issue, just don't do anything with the one that's already inactive, work the one that is active, and we can address that situation when we work after we work through all these other more important campus issues and get those issues resolved.
Thank you, Mike. Next one. From what Mike just said, that you're still working on the missing clients. If our QRCs have submitted the worksheet with the missing clients, we do not need to resubmit these if they are still not showing up, correct?
right now we're just trying to figure out where we're at with that. So what I would say is hold on sending us any repeats of missing clients. Um, we need to go through and figure out what files should be there, what aren't there, which ones we still have the missing information, need to do the manual linking on. And if, after next week, you still don't have your files, then contact us. What's happening right now is we're just getting this huge backlog of emails that we're just not going to possibly be able to get back to you on any kind of a timely basis. So hang tight. Let us work through the information that we have right now and see what we can clean up.
Thanks, Mike. And I saw you made a comment in the chat too that's really helpful if anybody needs to reference that. Next one. When doing the R3, there's no way to change the QRC on the file. It shows new QRC, but it's still listing the current QRC with no way to modify the new QRC information. My understanding with that, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, does the current QRC need to do their R3 first?
Actually, I guess the question is if we're talking about a change of QRC. And initially when we were doing campus, we had it where both QRCs had to file an R3 to make the changeover. But since then, we've gotten the system fixed where only the new QRC files the R3 using the process that Angie was talking about, which of course is to start off with getting a claim release from the injured worker and then working through that list of instructions. In fact, there will be a communication going out listing exactly how you should follow that procedure so that you can get that change of QRC effectively done correctly.
And Sarah, if you want to send a screenshot of what you're seeing, that would be helpful. Because I believe it should be allowing you to select from your QRCs that you're related to in your group. So if you want to send a screenshot of what you're seeing, that would be great. The R2 populates a projected completion date for service category rehab consultation. The old forms had NA. What date do we enter here? Mike, is that something you could possibly answer?
The date that you would always enter for the rehab consultation is the first date that you met with the injured worker or did the teleconference to initiate the RCR process. And that's what you're working off of. In fact, that's what the R2 is actually working off of from 45 days from the first in-person meeting.
Thank you, Mike. I submitted an RCR finding the employee ineligible. It shows up in the My Rehab Cases tab as open. Do I need to do something? I don't believe you need to do anything. We can change the status on our end to show it as closed. Next one. I submitted R8s and received confirmation numbers. 3 of the 4 are showing closed and 1 is still showing open, but I got a confirmation it was submitted. Again, that status in there is going to be the DLI status. So we can always change that to closed on our end. Melissa, I saw a follow-up that you can't see the forms that the QRC has submitted, and that is how the current functionality does work. You would only see the ones that you've submitted from your own account, but again, that's one that we have logged as a feedback item since many of you have requested that. Do we need to file the rights and responsibilities form in Campus for the legacy clients? And Mike responded with, if you already filed the RT or the rights and responsibility form with DLI, you don't need to do another one.
Essentially what happened was, for some reason, that information did not go over to Campus. And we've looked into several files and we found that the rights and responsibilities forms are there in the old database system, so you're fine. Going forward, what will happen with Campus is, of course, when you do your RCR and you upload your rights form, that will register on your Campus page for all the new ones that you enter into Campus. So it's just a minor bump as we were making this transition.
Thanks, Mike. I still can't see rehab cases in my queues. I've had to log into the QRCs to complete forms. Evelyn, if you can send a screenshot of your home page, that would be helpful. I believe as long as you're related to those QRCs, I believe you should be able to see their cases in your My Rehab Cases queue. One of our QRCs is still unable to do RCR forms. It says you must register your firm first. The registration won't submit, and it appears everything is filed or is filled incorrectly. Lisa, if you can send the name of that QRC, I can take a look. We did do some things last night that should allow the registration to submit and should have moved everybody into the staff and interns tab, but we can certainly check and see if maybe that user is missing for some reason. There's a request to demonstrate how to access QRC intern files. So unfortunately, I don't have a QRC intern account mocked up for that today. That's something that we can possibly do at our next answer hour. Sally, I think going back to the 2 dates of injury question, you said you don't have the active date of injury in campus. So Mike, in that instance, would it be the other case that she should be completing?
I'm sorry, I was typing. Would you
Oh, no
repeat the
problem.
question?
Yeah, so back to the question regarding an employee with multiple claims, multiple dates of injury, and multiple cases. It appears that the active one is not in campus. So should this user be completing actions on the other?
No, then what you should do is bring that to our attention so we make sure we get you the file that you should be working.
Okay. Is there a way to preview the attachments we add in an R form before we hit submit, just to make sure we grabbed the correct document? That is something that I cannot remember. I don't think that it does allow that, but I can certainly
I think
test
that's
that.
correct. I don't know that you can open up, say, a narrative report that you uploaded into the RCR. So at this point, the only thing you can do is make sure you open it up before you upload it into the document.
Thanks, Mike. All right. I tried to file an R2 on an unattached file in Campus this morning, and it still did not work. Appears it was not fixed last night. Joanna, was that an R2 that you, or that was one that you hadn't saved anything as a draft, correct? Lisa, you said you're still having that issue. Mike, there was a question, do we need to upload a QRC disclosure form with the RCR? And Mike answered no, the disclosure form doesn't need to be added. I received a notice from a staff member indicating that when they went in to create the RCR, the incorrect insurer and employer information was entered. Should we go back to the insurer to request this be corrected in the system? Yes, that would be information that the insurer claim administrator would be updating. Once a file has been closed and has a status of closed in campus, is it possible to remove them from the QRC's rehab case to avoid sorting through them when searching through currently open cases, or possible in the future to add an archive or closed cases tab where they could exist instead of the active file list?
Yeah, I think that's definitely feedback we can take in there. I know in some instances we have put a filter for closed cases, so it doesn't display them. But that's something we definitely can take into consideration.
Thanks, Brad. And just a request for a tutorial on the accessing intern cases. So yep, I can definitely see if we can put that together. I don't believe that it should be any different than accessing a normal case. I believe that if you're the supervisor or if you're related to that intern, you should still be seeing it in the My Cases tab, but we can check on that as well. And Joanna, I saw you said you're not filing from a draft or anything, so we can look into that. Is there any way to print a blank R2 form from campus to take along for discussion during a first client meeting? Mike, would they use just the old form for that that's on the DLI website?
That's exactly right. We've, with the PDFs that have always been there posted on DLI's website in that forums box is still there. So you can go ahead and just print that out and take it along with.
Thank you, Mike. I have files in my rehab claims that are showing up as duplicates. What does that mean? So if the status is a duplicate, if it says closed duplicate, it just means that it might have been filed multiple times. So we marked it as a duplicate so that you could just use the open case. But if there's confusion with that, certainly let us know. We can look into it a little further. Judy, do we still have to have supervising QRCs co-sign paper forms and upload them in the system, or is there a way to have them co-sign in campus? Mike, I'll let you take that one as well.
No, you need to go ahead and do the co-signing and upload that in campus.
Great. Thank you, Mike. When we have to mail the RRIW form to clients and they don't return them timely to file, is this going to be an issue with late filing? Mike, I think I'm going to have you answer that too, because I'm not sure what the RRIW is.
Yeah, I don't know why people use that initials. That's the rights form. And the thing is, it's like we talked about in the 2016 QRC update. If you don't get back the form within 15 days, if you've sent that off, then you would just simply write in the employee signature line, employee declined to return within 15 days, and you would file that rights form, which shows you did your job.
And just to confirm, you can do that, I believe, as part of your RCR, R2, I can't remember.
It's
And
in
then
the
you can,
RCR for the
okay,
rights.
perfect. And then you can also do a document upload, I believe, if you don't have that at the time.
Well, it's, if you're going to be filing your RCR, it makes the most sense just to go ahead and file the rights form and just get it out of the way. Would be my recommendation.
Great, thanks, Mike. That is the end of the questions that I've got right now. Let's see here. Oh, one just came in. At one of the sessions, I thought it was stated that the R2 had a generic description we could select. It appears we have to enter our own text to these fields. Could you clarify? I'm not sure if I'm really following that 100%, but I can pull that up.
If I might interrupt, if you're talking about the service description, you are correct. The only thing that it does describe is what the service category is, but you have to fill in what it is that you're planning on doing. You may recall that during one of the demonstrations I did, I suggested that you go ahead and create your own template, literally 00 down to service category number 20, and list out on a Word document what those typically fields would involve with you, say medical management, attending medical appointments, medical related communications with healthcare providers, and that you could cut and paste those descriptions into the service description, which would save you a lot of time. But also, too, it affords you the ability to go ahead and customize, i.e. go back in and change that description within the description as you need so that it fits that particular client's situation. But you're correct. There is not one just generic definition for all people to use because everybody's different.
Great. Thank you, Mike. All right. I'm not seeing anything else in the chat right now. So if you have any questions, please feel free to throw those in the chat quickly and we can address them. As Mike mentioned in the chat, we do have our half-hour answer hour for group administrators after this one. So that is at 11. We can address any group admin questions that you all have during that one if you're still having any issues with that. Regarding our next answer hours, I know that was something that was on our agenda. We are going to take a break for the next couple of weeks because many of you will likely be taking some time off for the holidays, and some of us will also be taking some time off for the holidays. So we are going to take a break for those 2 weeks. Certainly can continue to send emails or contact the help desk if you're experiencing any issues. And we will plan to pick up those answer hours again on January 4th, or the week of January 4th, I should say. Just as to kind of confirm that those are still needed, we've been asking all the groups if you find these answer hours helpful, if you'd like us to continue for your group. So you can provide any feedback in the chat. I think based on the activity that we've had today, likely would be something that we'd want to continue with this group. But any feedback would be great if anybody wants to put anything in the chat. Yeah, I see. It would be helpful if we could get notice of the answer hours for the next couple months. I can see if that's something that we can possibly do. I know we're working on getting that schedule a little more finalized, and in the last month or so, it's been a little bit more hectic with schedules, but we can see if we can get them kind of at a regular cadence. Brad or Mike, any last thoughts or anything to add?
Yeah, I think, today at 11 o'clock, we have another answer hour for this group, and it's really centered around group management. Angie will be doing that answer hour, and that's what it is. So if people are having questions with group management, we put a number of fixes in around that staff and interns tab to make sure it works. So I would recommend, anybody who's a group administrator attend that, and so we can get those questions answered and document anything you're seeing out there, because like I said before, we do take it seriously. These answer hours, you take your feedback seriously, and hopefully you've seen that we have improved the system over the past few weeks and months to make it better for you. So that I just wanted to kind of end on that note that we are taking this. We are gonna make this better for you. But our focus right now is getting you all able to file, getting our attorneys able to file, so we're not slowing down litigation. And then we're gonna do some work with the insurance carriers to get some of those claims in the door that have been kind of been hanging up. And I know that affects you and that affects litigation as well. So we want to get all that work done and get everybody able to file and use the system, and then take this feedback you've given us for some of these improvements and start to prioritize them and see what we can do and get those done for you.
Say, Angie, I see a note here where they're asking for the link for that group administrator meeting.
Yeah, so Terry, I sent you an invite, so you should have gotten that. If anybody else needs it, just send it in the chat. I can add you to that as well. Let me see if I can grab the link as well, because I believe Jenny does put those up on the website. And there was another question here. For our forms that were previously submitted online that aren't showing up, is there still work in progress to get these uploaded, or do we need to resubmit them?
Yeah, there's still work to get those uploaded. We've been prioritizing it. Like I said, we wanted to get your ability to actually start filing forms again, so we're not giving you such a big backlog. Then we're going to go back around and look at those forms and see how we're going to be able to get them created in Canvas for you.
Great, thanks. All right. I will go ahead and put the answer hour, if I can find that. Here is I'll put this link in the chat for anybody who might need it. You should be able to go halfway down the page and it'll give you an ICS file when you click on Friday, December 18th. So I can show you all what that looks like. So on this page, if you scroll down, it's right here and it'll download a file when you click that. should allow you to join. So if any of you don't have that and need to attend, please feel free to do that. And I think it looks like our chat is pretty well clear right now. So thank you all so much for attending today. This is very helpful. We will see you all or talk to you all in January, hopefully. Anything else to add, Brad or Mike?
Nothing on my end except to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah, and I just want to echo that, thank you for everybody that did participate in these answer hours, but also everybody that's made time for us to look at the system with them and give us all that information that we needed to actually make this work for you. So we appreciate that. We know it took time, but we will still be calling on you. But I do want to say publicly, I appreciate it. With that, I think we can adjourn.